let's take a look at our top selections for the... Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer, the feature race at Aqueduct on Saturday. Race number 9, the correction. Let's take a peek at this field. Fillies and Mares going 3/4 of a mile. And Mike, the number 3, Muse, is your 8-5 morning line favorite. This is expected to be her final career start before she retires to be a broodmare. I know you've never been a fan of Muse. I'm coming around to your way of thinking. And even though she's dropping in class, maybe this is a good race to take a shot against the favorite.
Yeah, maybe it is just because the favorite's a Muse, Dan. Boy, I got to say, though, for a guy who very rarely ships horses, Richard Mandela, it's hard to argue with this spot for a Muse. I mean, she has all the figures in here. It's not like she's a slow horse, so it doesn't feel like the pace could really work against her. He's just found a really, really good spot for her final start.
Well, let's throw up the time form US pace projector for this race. Several horses exiting gate to wire wins, but time form US believes that the 2, Sadie Lady, is fastest, and I agree. I think Sadie Lady is going to take advantage of post position 2 as the innermost of the speeds. I think she'll make the running.
Yeah, she's certainly fast enough to get there. She has speed. The 5, Jump for Joy, has speed. The 6, Awesome Debate, has some speed. So, even if she does make the front end, I don't know if she's going to get loose, and it feels like she's definitely at her best when she can get loose.
I think the pace will be solid, and that could help out the number 1, Kansas Kiss. I think Ray Handel does very good work, especially turning horses back in distance. That's one thing to like about Kansas Kiss. 2, I think the fact that Kansas Kiss just likes shorter distances than what she's been running recently. And 3, when you watch her last race, she broke from the inside, and she ended up way on the outside.
Yeah, it's funny, Dan. I mean, she's actually run pretty well, at least going a mile a couple of times. I mean, you go back to the Busher last year, that's probably the best race she's ever run, and she was really unlucky not to win that day. I even felt like she ran fine 2 starts back going the mile. But man, the more I see of this filly, the more I just think she's way better sprinting. I think cutting back in distance really works for her. And I personally thought off of that long layoff, or relatively long layoff anyway, last November when they brought her back, I thought she ran really, really well to win that day. Dueling with a 2-5 favorite, put that horse away. The runner-up had all the momentum gaining on her, and she turned that horse away again. I like this horse cutting back.
Time form US's expected pace setter, the 2, Sadie Lady. We're going to watch her last race, December 18th. So she's coming off about a 3-month layoff. And as Mike mentioned, she is at her best when she's able to control the pace, and she was able to get loose here down on the inside, and she keeps right on rolling along.
I mean, I guess it's just all about trip for her, Dan. We'll see how comfortable she can get on the early lead here. I do expect her to try to make the front, and then we'll just see if she shakes loose. I'm not a real big believer in this horse against fields like this one.
She has run very well at the Big A, 4 lifetime wins from 7 outings on the main track. Muse is the 3, and this is the one to beat. Muse is graded stakes placed in her career. She's making her 3rd start of the form cycle in her last start of her career, and she was in against some decent fillies and mares last time out in the Santa Monica. Logical from a figure standpoint, logical obviously from connections, but again, at a short price, I would take a shot against.
Yeah, I mean, she's just the horse to beat in the air, and I don't think anybody would be surprised if this is just the right spot and she wins. But as you've already mentioned, she's not that reliable, so we'll just see what happens, and we'll see how short a price she winds up going off at.
I wonder if you could make a slight case for the 4, Call on Mischief, even though she's a little bit slow on paper, Mike. Last time out in the Interborough, that was a race that just went to closers. It seemed that the pace fell apart, and she was pretty close to that pace. And 2 back was the race we just saw, Sadie Lady controlling the pace and Call on Mischief on a hard chase. You go back to some of her other races, they're okay. She needs to jump up a bit, but she has some tactical speed, might be, again, a bit dirtied up.
Yeah, I agree with you that her last 2 races might suggest that she's dirtied up a little bit. I mean, the Interborough, you're right, it fell apart and went to closers. On the other hand, I think you have to ask yourself how good the Interborough was. I don't know. I could go either way on this horse. Dan, I actually wonder. She was claimed for $100,000 last year. Then she was claimed for $62,500 at the end of last year again. I mean, obviously people like her. I kind of wait. I'd be interested to see if Kelly Breen puts her back on turf soon, because the turf season's opening up soon. I wonder if she's just not better on that surface.
Jump for Joy was a remarkable claim. They took this horse for $14,000 around this time 2 years ago, and she has now won several races, a 10-time winner, including this performance on January the 16th over a muddy track. This is an entry-level allowance race. Jump for Joy was able to make the lead in here, and she's going to end up holding sway as the favorite. I did not like the field she faced in this spot, and I just think it's a much tougher pace situation stretch with the horse to her inside, the two, Sadie Lady showing speed.
Yeah, that's true. It should be tougher up front for her. The good thing about Jump for Joy is that she's not, one of those horses who absolutely has to be on the lead to be effective. I mean, she can sit up close and still run. She's just, one of those hard-hitting horses that you have to respect. She wins a lot. She likes to be around it. They've never run her in a stakes race before. This is her 33rd career start. They're going to step her up now because she's in really good form.
The 6 Awesome Debate's honest. She's won 6 of 11, including her last 2 races. Let's go back to February the 12th against open entry-level allowance horses. And again, Awesome Debate was able to make the lead in here, and she's really going to stretch it out in the stretch. Slow pace early, sprints home late, a race where there wasn't a lot of closing. But that being said, she just seems to be in good form. She shows up most of the time, and I think she can pull a trip, maybe tracking the 2 and the 5.
Yeah, she's in really good recent form. I mean, you're right. This race, there was just no passing going on in here. It felt like she had all the best of it. Sort of a similar situation to back where she had sharp speed right from the start, got clear, and then was never challenged against, I would say, a suspect field when she won 2 starts back. But even her race 3 back there, she might have been best that day, too. I mean, she's just in really good form. We'll see what kind of trip she gets.
I was a little disappointed with Prairie Fire's last race. That was the La Verdad. It was a pretty tough spot, but she had things her way up front, and she just got tired at the end. Maybe she didn't care for that muddy track, although she has run well on off-going in the past. I like her tactical speed, and the outside post gives Eric Cancel plenty of options. She's likely to work out a tracking trip in the clear.
I agree. I like her outside post and I like her running style. I don't necessarily like her last 2 races all that much. That's a real problem for me. So we'll see. It feels like she could be an okay price in here, though, Dan, and it's not like she doesn't have races that would give her a shot.
I thought this was a difficult race to decipher. We take a look at our top picks for the correction stakes. Mike, you're going with Kansas Kiss. And again, I certainly see it. I agree with you. I think shorter is better for her, turning back in distance. All she needs is some pace, and this pace, again, should be fair.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, I've been waiting for her to cut back down. I'm happy they're doing it here. And it just feels like she's going to be a price in a race where if she shows up and runs one of her good races, maybe she can get a piece.
Awesome Debate, the 6. Yeah, she's stepping up in class, but she's an honest enough horse. I think the price will be fair. And again, I think she can park out in a 3-wide tracking trip and get the jump on these turning into the stretch. 1-3-5-7 for Mike, 6-5-2-3 for me. The correction is the feature race at the Big A on Saturday. Best of luck.